Yeah.
Was your fear of darkness after he was taken or before?
Nah, before. So, not to like put a dark cloud, but living in Jamaica, again, Jamaica is such a great place, and it's not as bad as portrayed.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I have had a few bad run-ins because they tried to kidnap me when I was 14.
Oh shit.
Yeah, they tried to rob us, and they were pulling me out of the car.
Was there a reason for it? Like a game
So
plan?
we lived in like an Asian neighborhood, and Asians in Jamaica, they own like wholesales, which is
Wholesale?
like
the grocery shop?
Yeah, basically, but for bulk stuff. And it's a cash business. So, and typically the families come home and they have all this cash because Chinese, they don't bank. They put everything under their mattress kind of thing. My dad owned a computer store, but so we were just there, and they, I guess, targeted, easy money, try and rob, and then, hold for ransom or whatever the case.
Yeah.
And I don't know how I did this. My dad was actually teaching me how to drive. So I was driving a stick shift. I was 14. And they pulled up, and then the car was behind me so that I couldn't move like reverse. I don't know how I did it, but I turned the steering wheel with all my, little tiny skinny hands of mine.
No power steering.
No power steering. It was like and then I turned the wheel, and I managed to back up, not hit their car, and then drive off. So my dad, we had 2 German Shepherds, and so my dad was, out of the car going into the house, and the dogs are there. But my dad could run because the dogs were running and not attacking but holding them off. So my dad could run in the house, but my dad's not going to leave me. So he's standing there trying to, everything happens so fast.
Yeah.
So he's trying to figure out what's going on. The dogs are there. And then when I see the guy starts pulling out his gun, and he's grabbing me out of the car at the same time.
Your dad or the guy?
The guy.
Yeah.
There were 2 guys. One guy running after my dad, and then this guy by my window.
Mm-hmm.
And my mind just goes, if he gets you out of this car, that's it. They're going to kidnap you. God knows what they're going to do. You have to do something now. And don't ask me how a 14-year-old can, think about. I am so thankful and blessed that I was able to do that, because people always talk about fight or flight, and people love to say, oh, yeah, I would do this in this situation. I would do that in this situation. I'm like, you actually have no idea how you're going to react in a certain situation, because when you get to that point, it's fight or flight. And a lot of people do shut down. Fear is blinding. Anyway, so I managed to reverse and drive down the street in the car. And so I did not know this. I thought one person was still with my dad. So I drive, then the other guy jumps in his car, starts to follow me. It's kind of funny. I'm like, this is in the movie. This actually happened. I'm just like listening to myself talk.
Nice, keep going.
This is kind of crazy. But anyways, so they start following me, and I'm looking in my mirror, and I'm like, oh crap, okay, so they're following me. Where is the closest police station, And then they manage to turn off. So I go back, and I see my dad, and I'll never forget this. My dad has his head between his legs crying, because he does not know what happened to me. And I get back, and the first thing that I say to him is like, I'm so sorry. He's like, why are you sorry? Because I left him. I felt like I left him behind, I drove off and I left him. And he goes, you have nothing to be sorry about. Your safety is, So there was that situation when I was a teenager, so, but, and it, in the same breath, I say, oh, Jamaica isn't that dangerous, but I have a really bad situation.
Yeah, it's like America though too. Like depending on what area you live in, there's a lot of variables.
Exactly. I always say, in up here, you're probably quicker to get robbed if you walk down an alleyway with your big Rolex, kind of thing. It's just 2 very unfortunate things. So I think there's quite a lot of bit of troubling things that have happened in my childhood. Why I hate concerts. I don't like crowds.
Is that because of a lot of unknown variables?
Exactly. Like I have to, ever since I was little, I have to be in control of my surroundings, but I have to be able to kind of see what's going on. And in big crowds, I get anxious because, anything can happen.
Yeah.
So I guess my fear of the dark and all that stuff kind of stemmed from when I was younger. And
Yeah.
apparently I went to a therapist, and I love therapists after my dad died because I wanted to have kids. We just got married after he passed. He passed 2 months after we got married. So I knew that I needed to talk to somebody and just let it out. Be able to just talk and just, offload onto someone else. And he goes, we dove into all these things that happened to me. And he's like, would you come into a second time? I think I would like to do a mock-up, and for PTSD, you go through a long list. They ask you questions, and it's like, you have PTSD. This is why your memory is bad, and that's why you don't like the dark. I'm like, oh, that makes a ton of sense. And it was actually a relief. It made sense to why my brain works in certain ways, and I'm like, that's it.
Yeah.
But I'm still I literally, that was my question to him. I was like, can you have PTSD and still be this happy? And he goes, yes, you can. I'm like, great. Okay, cool.
It would be little triggers, I'd imagine, like, again, being in the dark.
Yeah.
And yeah.
But so that's what was nice. It's like, once you know the problem, you know how to address it. You know how to fix it. Not necessarily fix it, but just manage
Work through it and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it was it was a nice relief to figure out why I have, because there are huge gaps in my memory. And when we were talking, he was like, when did that start? I'm like, when I was a teenager. When I was 14. Oh, that's what happened. It was like a light bulb just popped in. He's like, yeah, that's one of the symptoms,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, interesting. So yeah, afraid of the dark. But my dad passing away, he actually is my light. Like, when I'm afraid of the dark, that's why I say I make that joke. I was like, if anything or if any demon is close to me in the dark, I know it's going to be my dad, and my dad's going to be pop out like in a movie. So he's like, what's for dinner? So, it's good and bad.
Yeah.